give a shout. K5BRS.
I don't know. My name is Bill. Was there another station in there? Inside BB. Don't hear him now, Benny. Talk to you sometime later. Inside BB clear.
Appreciate it, Bill. K5BRS clear.
KI5YGT, antenna check. KI5YGT, just checking in to see if this antenna is working okay.
YTT, this is KF5JHA. I read you loud and clear.
Okay, good to hear. Thanks a lot. I just put up the antenna that we made last weekend. Roland helped us make it, the copper J-pole S, 2 meter and 70 centimeter. And yeah, as anticipated, it sounds like it's working okay, so I appreciate that. Thank you. KF5YGT.
That time you had a little bit of frying bacon, but you were very clear to understand. KF5JHA, standing by for Skynet.
Miss Skynet.
I don't know.
Does Charlie know?
Always 9 p.m. Saturday on 146.88. Duh.
B5FC.
Be starting Skynet in about 2 minutes. If you need to use the repeater, please do so before the net starts. This is N5BB.
Chairman, I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That's correct, sir. Skynet. Does anyone need to use the repeater before we begin Skynet? This is Inside BB. 5BB, my name is Bill. Bravo, Bravo. I'll be your net control for this session of the Dallas Amateur Radio Club Skynet. Skynet is a weekly net called every Saturday night at 9 p.m. concerning the subject of astronomy and human uses of space. The purpose is to help amateurs become more familiar with the nighttime and daytime sky, astronomy, and space in general. It is open to all amateurs interested in this topic, and we encourage your participation, your comments, and your suggestions for this net. Hold, please. The startup Echolink, so I'm working on that. Back to the script. Stations with priority or emergency traffic, enter the net at any time by using the pro sign, break, and your call sign. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? This is a directed net. Please do not transmit without direction from your net control. That would be myself, Inside BB. Stations are reminded to identify at the end of your transmissions. This weekly net operates at 146.88 megahertz with a PL tone of 110.9. Check-ins via Echolink are also possible using a W5FC-R station ID node 37247. And I am monitoring Echolink now. And see the usuals over there lurking. Tonight's topics, astronomy charts, pictures, and live audio video links are available online. Go to www.w5fc for the complete list. Remember to tell others about this popular net. All amateur operators are welcome. Do not need to be a member of any amateur radio club to participate. It is 90 minutes long, structured in several parts. I'm going to skip through these really quick. General announcements, Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, National Space Society events, the discussion topic of the evening by Net Control, Was Up, Space Exploration and Space History, Constellation of the Week, Space Launches of the Week, Recent Astronomical Discoveries, and Visible Satellite Passages over the next couple of days, followed by Questions and Answers in 73. Sections we may not get to if we run out of time. Again, all amateurs licensed to transmit on this frequency are invited to check in. Now let's start. This is N5BB, Skynet, Net Control. Start with short time check-ins. If you can't stay here too long, please come right now with your call sign, your name, and where you're transmitting from. This is N5BB, Skynet.
November 8, Whiskey Romeo, NAWWR, Romy, Grapevine, short time. Thank you for running that, sir.
Recognize NAWWR. Hello, Romy. Do we have any other stations that are short time? This is in 5BB.
Kilo 5, Juliet, Delta Whiskey, John in Bell.
I recognize John, K5JDW. Hi, John. There was a double. Who else was transmitting?
Kilo India 5, Yankee Oscar Victor.
AI5YOV. Good evening. What's your name and location, please?
AI5YOV, McKinney.
Okay, and what was the name? Unknown station in McKinney. F5YOV. Don't know who you are, but we recognize you. Very good evening. Thank you for visiting. Do we have any other short-time visitors to the net? Please come now in 5BB, net control.
Kilo India 5, Yankee Golf Tango, Tom in Denton, short time.
Very good. That was Kilo India 5, Yankee Golf the Tango, Tom in Denton. Did I get that correct?
Yes, QSL. It's Tom in Denton. You got it.
Very good, Tom. I'm just curious. How long has it been since you got the call?
Well, I got the call back September 27th, actually. It's my wedding anniversary, funny enough. And, yep, new timer. Got my tech and general all on the same day.
Well, fantastic. Congratulations. I recognize that as a new call. I just wanted to welcome you to amateur radio. And you're doing good to get in from Denton. This repeater is kind of over near SMU along Highway 75 in Dallas. Do we have any other short-time check-ins? Short-time check-ins only to Skynet. This is in 5BB.
Kilo Golf 5, Uniform, Foxtrot, Romeo, Jacob, Farmers Branch, short time, no traffic.
I recognize Jacob, KG5UFR. Welcome. Any other short-time check-ins? This is in 5BB, Skynet. Okay, let's go for regular RF check-ins. Anybody would like a check-in? Or we'll do Echolink later. Anybody that would like a check-in on RF, please come now with your name, call sign, and your location. This is in 5BB.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike, Tony in Dallas.
Kilo India 5, Uniform, Juliet, Dustin in Dallas.
My check-ins are going very slow. I recognize NT5TM Tony. And KF5UUJ Dustin. Before we move on to the next part of the net, are there any other RF check-ins? This is N5BB, Skynet.
Number Victor 5, Foxtrot, Virginia in Fort Worth.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Juliet Hotel Alpha, Chaz, Mesquite.
This is Whiskey 5, Golf, Uniform, Sierra, Gus, far northeast Dallas.
Kilo 5, Bravo Romeo Sierra, Benny, Sunnyvale.
Okay, I recognize NV5S, hello Virginia. KF5JHA, Chaz. W5GUS, Gus. And K5BRS, hello again, Benny. Do we have any other check-ins to RF to Skynet? This is N5BB.
Whiskey 405, Oscar Zulu Lima, Brendan DeSoto.
Kilo Golf 5, Bravo Zulu, Whiskey J, and Weber.
Recognize Brenda, WB5OZL, hello. Hey, KG5BZW, good evening. Any other RF check-ins to Skynet? This is N5BB, net control. Okay, nothing heard. Let's go to Echolink. Let's see. KE5ICX. I'm going to check you in. You want to say hi on voice?
I can do that, Bill. I think I got doubled over. KE5ICX. I'm here, Louisville.
Yeah, you may be one of the doubles earlier. I missed you. Very good. Welcome. And let's see, who's next? Tony, we already have. JJ, N5IMS. JJ, are you just lurking? Yeah, he's listening. I guess he's listen only. We got you, JJ. Next, we have KD9VFR. KD9VFR. Would you like to check in on voice? If so, please give me your location and your name.
KD9 VFR here. I'm originally from Wisconsin, but I'm traveling. I'm currently in California. And this is John. Just I'll be listening in.
Very good. KD9 VFR. John, I believe you said you're in Carrollton. Welcome. Good evening. Let's see. I believe that's it. Already got Jay. Does anybody else want to check in on any mode to Skynet? If so, please come now with your call sign, name, and location. This is N5BB.
This is Whiskey Bravo number 4, Mike Foxtrot, India, WV4MFI, Ed Alice, no power.
for MFI. We got you, Ted. Thank you. Before I move ahead to the next part of the net, do we have any other check-ins? Okay. Next, do we have any general announcements for the net? These can be related to amateur radio, astronomy, space, or something of general interest to licensed hams. If you have any general announcements, just give your call sign, and then we'll come back to you later. Anybody with any general announcements? Now with your call sign only.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike.
GUS, Whiskey 5 Golf Uniform Sierra.
Very good. We have Tony and Gus. Tony, you go ahead first. NT5TM and 5BB and Skynet.
Thank you, Bill. I know being net control for Skynet is a lot of work, and all of our Skynet presenters have to work very hard, and they're smarter than average people. And if you enjoy Skynet, you're probably smarter than average too. But perhaps something has happened today. Perhaps you've had to work too hard. Perhaps you've inhaled some carbon monoxide. I'm not sure. But if you're not feeling as bright as usual, our Afterglow movie is the thing for you. Search from 1972. Season 1, Episode 1, The Murrow Disappearance. It's like a TV show about Googling things, although Googling hadn't been invented yet. We'll be talking about it tonight at about 10:30. Once you recover from your carbon monoxide inhalation, we have some more nets coming up. We've got a meeting on the air tomorrow at 7 and a RACES training net tomorrow at 8. Both are on this repeater, although, of course, only RACES appointees can check into the RACES net. Everyone is welcome to listen to the training. And this Monday, the 7th, is a first Monday, which means it's Ham Fixin's night. Eat before the net, that's my advice, or else you're going to get hungry. Ham Fixin's at 7 this Monday. And as Guy K1GBD mentioned very emphatically earlier this evening, and Romy reinforced it, Thanksgiving's going to be here before we knew it. It's going to go whoosh, and it'll be Thanksgiving Day, and you'll wonder why you didn't volunteer for Turkey Trot. All your friends will be having fun, seeing people in zany costumes and helping a big public service event take place safety. You could have been there too. Go to W5FC.org and sign up for Turkey Trot if you haven't. All you need is a handy talkie and enthusiasm and an alarm clock. At any rate, that's what I've got, NT5TM.
Good, thank you, Tony. Gus, please go ahead with your announcements.
Okay, thank you, Bill. W5GUS here. I guess this is of interest to astronomy nuts and people in Houston or near Houston. There's a newly reopened telescope at the Brazos Bend State Park. It's southeast of Houston, I'm guessing maybe 20 miles, something like, or southwest of Houston, maybe 20 miles. It's a magazine, a little blurb here. On Saturday evenings, Brazos Bend State Park visitors can get close-up glimpses of constellations, the Moon, Saturn, and newly reopened George Observatory. It's run in collaboration with the Houston Museum of Natural Science. That's the observatory is home to a 36-inch Weimard Research Telescope, one of the largest telescopes in the U.S., regularly open to the public. During its 3-year renovation of the observatory, specialized cameras were added so stargazers can also peer into the galaxy on screens. Visitors must buy timed entry tickets online for their hour on deck. A typical visit includes constellation, laser tours, and chats with astronomers. Park admission is $7 per person for 13 and up, and observatory tickets are $10. And that was a little article on in a AAA travel magazine. Once again, I guess you could contact Houston Museum of Natural Science for the George Observatory. A little trip down there, or a 1-hour flight on Southwest Airlines, but if you're now down near Houston on Saturday evening through the 36-inch Guimard Research Telescope, that'll be a nice view. All right, that's it. Back to net, W5GUS.
Thank you, Gus. Does anybody have any questions or comments about Tony's or Gus's items? Oh, come with your call sign only in 5BB. Net control.
KI5YGT, Tom.
Tom, KI5YGT. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, I had a question for Tony if we know what the next lecture in lab's going to be.
Oh, Tony, do you know what the next lecture lab's going to be? I don't know.
I don't remember because it's actually next year. There is no lecture in lab in November and December because of Thanksgiving and Christmas. So it's going to be a while. NT5TM.
Okay, very good. Does that answer your issue, Tom?
Yeah, I think that's as good an answer as I can get. I appreciate that, Tony, and thanks so much.
I think it's yet to be announced or determined. Okay, I've got a couple of quick announcements. The first one, and some of these may be discussed later in the net. I just want to get some of these things up front so everybody knows them. Number one, tomorrow morning at 2 a.m., if you're awake, get your clocks back 1 hour. That's right. Daylight saving time changes, and by the current law, it's the first Sunday morning in November when you turn your clock back 1 hour. So if your clock does not automatically change, if it's a mechanical clock, and you get up at 7 in the morning, well, you need to set it back to 6, and you got 1 more hour to sleep. So set your clocks back an hour early tomorrow morning. That's number one. Coming Tuesday, November the 8th, several things are happening. First, early in the morning, there is a total lunar eclipse. It's visible from most of the U.S. I think, in fact, all the continental U.S. As far as our local Central Standard Time, remember this is after the time change, the totality should start at 4:16 a.m. This is on Tuesday morning. You got to get up really early. So the moon goes into totality at 4:16 a.m. It's maxed out, centered on the moon at 4:59 a.m. And then around 6:45 a.m. is when the moon starts to set. So it doesn't make any difference what's happening after that because you're not going to see it. So again, totality starts at 4:16 a.m. on Tuesday morning of this week, this coming week, and at 4:59 a.m. it's maxed out. Now, when it's maxed out, it's usually very red, and it may be very dim. So you need to have good viewing conditions, or you may have a hard time finding the moon when it's in total eclipse, because in the big city, the background scattered light from street lights and other things can be pretty serious. Okay, and another piece of general news. Here, within the last 2 weeks, National Science Foundation announced that they were not going to plan to fund the proposal to rebuild the Arecibo telescope in Puerto Rico. So unless somebody comes in and injects money in or anything, right now there are no viable plans, no funded plans to rebuild the Arecibo telescope. Instead, the National Foundation said they were going to fund a science lab you could visit. So this would be like a little kind of museum thing you could visit there in Puerto Rico at the site. But they were not going to fund rebuilding the telescope itself. Sad news. Arecibo made a lot of interesting discoveries. Real neat. Of course, it collapsed a couple years ago. That's all my hot news right now. So, before we move on to the net, do we have any late check-ins or any questions about news items or additional news? This is N5BB, Skynet. There's some local AMSAT nets every week. On most Tuesday evenings, this repeater, 146.88, at 8 p.m., there's an AMSAT net east. So this repeater, Tuesday evening, 8 p.m. Normally, Tom, N5HYP, is net control. This is about satellite operation. So it's talking all kinds of satellites. Doesn't have to be an AMSAT satellite. Anybody is welcome to check in. You do not need to be an AMSAT member. The first Tuesday of the month is the Dallas Amateur Radio Club meeting, so the net is skipped that 1 week of the month. There is a West net, which is in the Arlington 147.14 megahertz repeater, of 110.9 and a positive offset, on Wednesday evening at 9 p.m. So again, another AMSAT satellite net, Wednesday evening, 9 p.m., Arlington, 147.14 megahertz repeater, for those people further over to the west in the DFW area, like Tarrant County. But anybody can check into either net if you can hit those repeaters. Then there's many nets on this repeater. On Monday evenings, there's something going on every evening at 7 p.m., every Monday evening. On the first and third weeks of the month, we have the Ham Fixings net, talking about food. Second week, it's the Emergency Communications net. Fourth week, it's the Geek net. We get geeky. We all already weren't geeky enough. And then if there is a fifth week, there isn't always, we have a surprise net. If I told you what it was, it wouldn't be a surprise. To be honest, we don't know what it's going to be until certainly before the net sometimes. Those are on Monday nights. On Tuesday nights, as I mentioned earlier, on this repeater, AMSAT Net East at 8 p.m. On Friday nights at 8 p.m., we have the CERT City Simulation Net, where all kinds of things about CERT training and emergency operation. It's the most disaster-prone city in the universe, CERT City. Anybody's welcome. Friday evening at 8 p.m. Saturday nights, tonight we have the Night of Nets. The Tech Net is on at 7 p.m. Talking about anything involving amateur radio operation, radios, electronics, computers connected to your radio, software. And then, of course, at 9 p.m., Skynet. And then at 10:30 p.m., we have the Afterglow Net. And tonight on the Afterglow Net, we're talking about an episode from a TV series from 1972. Bob, would you like to tell us about the Afterglow net, the Murrow disappearance? E5ICX and 5BB.
Well, thank you, Bill. And just to let everybody know, this month is TV month. Yes, we'll be doing one-off episodes or TV movies, and this one is no exception. So here is the highly accurate description of tonight's show. Agent Hugh Lockwood had a reputation. Unlike Agents Nick Bianco and C.R. Grover, who always put their video probe scanners in their chargers after a successful mission, Lockwood frequently forgot, and he was forever broadcasting to probe control his full Monty while in the shower. The support control team was well aware of his personal features to a point where they posted a sign outside their control center, R-rated, stay out, sparing other hapless probe personnel from seeing the field agent's most striking features. VCR, that's VCR, nicknamed Be Kind Rewind, Cameron, placed his hands over his eyes and turned away. He's doing it again. Everyone went, ooh, and turned away. The giant viewed screen up front was once again showing off Agent Lockwood in full color. They were hoping he would just call in sick for the next mission, but the team was beginning to wonder if this was on purpose. Join us for the next Afterglow movie, which is really the first episode of NBC's Probe TV show from 1972. It's what you watched after Star Trek was canceled. Tonight's episode is The Murrow Disappearance, Episode 1, Season 1, the only season for this show, tonight at 10:30 p.m. This is KE5ICX.
Very good, Tom. Well, and the producer of, the writer, the guy that caused this to be made, this TV series to be made, was the same guy that did The Outer Limits. That's right. And had several things with William Shatner in them, and he did also Buck Rogers in the 25th Century and Gemini Man. So yeah, he was our kind of guy, producing these kind of interesting things that most of the rest of them were science fiction. So this was right before he got into the heavy science fiction. So that was Leslie Stevens. Anyway, thank you, Tom. Other things happening every day. This is in 5BB. Every day, or I should say every evening, there is a traffic net moving message traffic at 6:30 p.m. on this repeater, 146.88. The only time this does not happen is on the Dallas Amateur Radio Club meeting night, where it's moved to the Irving 7.2 repeater. Every evening at 10:30 p.m., same traffic net meets on the Irving 146.72 megahertz repeater, PL 110.9. And that's all the nets that are standard for this repeater. We've talked about Afterglow. Chaz, get ready. We're not quite ready for Texas Astronomical Society because we're going to ask for check-ins. Do we have any additional check-ins or questions or comments? This is in 5BB, Skynet.
5 Oscar Foxtrot, Clay and Mesquite.
Kilo India 5, Kilo Whiskey Golf Cruise in Arlington.
I recognize N5OF and KI5KWG. Any questions from anybody about anything so far before I continue? This is N5BB, Skynet. Okay. Seatbelt on. Next we have Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events. Chaz, can we see anything with a telescope this week? This is in 5BB.
Maybe. Let me talk about the next club meeting first. The next Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas club meeting will be held on Friday, November the 18th, 2022, and the meeting will be held at 7:30 p.m. in person at the University of Texas at Dallas, and also on Zoom. Well, that was all on one breath. The featured speaker will be Robert Reeves, and his topic is the moon. He's a world-famous astronomer that has been taking lots of pictures of the moon forever and a day. The Saturday night public observing sessions have begun once again, and I believe there was one in North Dallas tonight, but I'm not sure where. Is there anyone from that location that's a ham radio operator that would like to report on that right now? Come down with your call sign if you do. Hearing none, I guess there's no one there. But it's probably going on. I just can't remember where. It used to be in Garland. It's been switched to another location for the first Saturday of each month. Skynet was picked to be on Saturday night so that there would be an opportunity for live reports from the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas public observing sessions. Now, you can check their website, texasastro.org, for up-to-date information and details about the meetings and public observing sessions. The website's run by volunteers, so it might not be as up-to-date as what we'd like it to be. And that's it for the moment, Bill. KF5JJ, back to you.
Yes. Next, I'm going to talk about the National Space Society. This is in 5BB. I happen to be the membership director and member at large. Right, I got two positions now. For the National Space Society, North Texas chapter. National Space Society is a 501c3 nonprofit for popularizing human activities in space and discussing those kind of topics. And our meetings are on the second Sunday afternoon of each month. For a November meeting, it's going to be on November the 13th, 8 days from today. It'll start at 3:30 p.m. at Spring Creek Barbecue in Irving, which is on Highway 183 at Beltline. The topic is going to be a remote speaker. I don't have the name in front of me here. Who's going to be speaking about the Osiris Apex, a NASA mission. So you may remember Osiris Rex, the original Osiris mission, where NASA sent a spacecraft to Bennu, I believe, and interacted with it. And now it's going on to another asteroid, Apophis, A-P-O-P-H-I-S. And this is a near-Earth asteroid, although it's not going to hit Earth anytime soon. And it's going to go meet up with it and plan to interact with it very, very closely. So we're going to have a talk about that on the 13th of November. If you'd like to visit one of our meetings, you can come on by, or if you'd like to visit the meeting remotely, because it's a hybrid meeting, you can do it on WebEx. Send me an email, space@byram.net. space@byrom.net, or n5bb@arrl.net. Just tell me you'd like to, visit the meeting or visit it virtually on WebEx, and I'll be glad to send you the credentials for that when they are ready, which they aren't yet. That's what's going up in the near term. In the longer term, The big event is the International Space Development Forum, ISDF 2023. And that's going to be in Frisco, Texas. That's right, near Dallas. May 25th to 23rd. I've got my dates wrong here. May 25th to 28th, 2023. I had a typo here. MC Suites by Hilton in Frisco. You can discover more at isdc2023.nss.org. That's the website, ISDC. In fact, I made a mistake earlier. I said ISDF. I meant ISDC. Man, I made a lot of typos. International Space Development Conference. So it's ISDC 2023.nss.org. And somebody needs to proofread me. ISDC is what it should be. Okay. If you're a member of the National Space Society, you can get discounts for attending the conference. No, it's a conference at a hotel. You've been to those kind of things before. It costs money to get there. I mean, it's significant money. A lot more money than a ham radio conference. So you get to hear all kinds of interesting speakers talking about missions to the moon and Mars. What will we eat when we get to Mars? How will we survive radiation on the way to Mars? About the planned space hotels, about the new planned Lunar Gateway Space Station, about changes to the International Space Station. All these kind of things are discussed. And the people discussing them are people like the head of the programs, the vice president of big companies. You know, there's a lot of interesting people there that build rockets and spacecraft for their day jobs. Okay, that's all the National Space Society events. Does anybody have any questions or comments or late check-ins? This is N5BB, Skynet at control.
Victor Papa uniform.
And I missed the rest of the call. Please come now with your call phonetically, your name and your location.
This is W9 VPU, Whiskey 9 Victor Papa uniform. My name is Sam and I'm in Allen, Texas.
Gotcha, Sam, W9 VPU. You need to back off from the microphone or turn it to the side of your mouth. You know, turn it at 90 degrees and hold it adjacent to your mouth, not in front of the mouth. Because wind noise from your breath was completely covering up part of your the audio there. But just letting you know there, it'll sound much better if you move the microphone away to the side. Very good, Sam. Thank you for visiting us here. Do we have any other check-ins?
Whiskey 5, bacon, lettuce, tomato. W5BLT, Bill, Lynn Garland.
Kilo Golf 5, Zulu Mike Golf, Joe in Arlington.
Double with somebody who may have been on Echolink, I'm not sure. Who was the last station after W5BLT? Who is the other station? Somebody else trying to check in addition to W5BLT? If so, please come down.
Kilo Golf 5, Zulu Mike Golf, Joe in Arlington.
Got you on Echo Link, Joe, at KG5ZMG. Thank you very much. Okay, now let's move to the discussion topic of the evening. This was brought to my attention by the Bad Astronomy blog. And, the Bad Astronomy newsletter, BAN, run by Phil Plait. By the way, Phil just got laid off from the Sci-Fi Network, and so he's going off doing different things and writing articles for Scientific American and still running his newsletter and everything. I suggest you subscribe to it. It's really neat. This is the Bad Astronomy newsletter. And the November 1st issue had some very interesting photographs and very interesting information. This has to do with some objects which are called Wolf-Rayet binaries. There are Rayet. It's Wolf-Rayet. It's WOF-RAYET binaries. Wolf-Rayet binary is a binary star where they're very active, they're very bright, and there tends to be, many times, a lot of dust that's produced. And because the radiation is so bright, the dust is accelerated in shells around the objects. And this produces some very interesting things. So first, on something that was imaged in the past by the Keck telescope, there's an object WR140, and thought that object, about the Wolf-Rayet binary system, might sometime in the future explode as a gamma ray, supernova with gamma rays. This would be kind of bad because it's only 8,000 light years away. However, it probably won't occur for hundreds of thousands of years. It's just at about the right distance where we could maybe survive it, thus without getting totally cooked. That's how bright the gamma rays are from a gamma ray burst from a supernova that's 8,000 light years away. It's just about the distance where it might be able to zap you pretty badly. And it would have to be aimed at us, that the gamma ray burst might go off some other direction. So we're not sure what direction it'll go off. But this particular object, WR140, which is not my topic of the evening, but it's related. WR104 binary is spiraling and releasing dust in one direction. So as it spirals, the dust is being blown away by radiation pressure. It's like a searchlight that's rotating. It's being blown away in different directions over time. So what you get is a really neat spiral, a perfect spiral coming away from it, which is really interesting. It looks very interesting. That's not the topic. Instead, the topic for this evening is something that James Webb Space Telescope just imaged, it sounds similar, but it's different. It's WR140. The spiral object I just mentioned is WR104, but the one I'm going to be talking about tonight is WR140. It's another one of these Wolf-Rayet binaries. The dust is being given off from not continuously, but periodically. So it's thought they're orbiting in a very elongated orbit. So they come close to each other periodically, and then they get further away from each other. And the elliptical orbits. So the time it takes for these orbits between the dust events is every 7.93 years. Roughly every 8 years, the objects get close, and they eject a huge amount of dust. And then they're quieter. So another 8 years later, when the dust gets, emitted again. But what's neat about this is that before they had some just really lousy pictures of this event from other telescopes, because it's only visible in infrared. But guess what? We've got a new, amazing infrared telescope, the James Webb Space Telescope. And when it imaged it, there are all of these concentric rings around it. Now, they're not perfectly circular because radiation pressure isn't completely circular. They're close to circular. And it's an amazing photograph. Here in this one I'm looking at, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Like about 16 different concentric rings. It's really amazing. The dust that was blown off. And there's also some other events at other certain directions that occurred that were not rings, but were other kind of bright events. And there's also flare from the telescope mounts. And the reason on James Webb, you see some of these pictures from James Webb Space Telescope, and you see all these flares in different directions, and you think, oh, it must be crummy design of a telescope. No. The reason you see them is that, number one, the telescope had to be put up in segments and unfolded and everything in the first place. So it's by nature got these segments that are going to cause some of these events in mounts. The big thing is it's got an incredibly large dynamic range. So it can look at, it's very sensitive, very sensitive. So when it looks at a really bright object, some of these lens flares, which may be 1/millionth of the intensity of the light, are very visible because the telescope is so incredibly sensitive. And they could go in and subtract these out. But even without subtracting them, it's okay. You just kind of ignore them. So don't get bothered by them. Anyway, the really neat object because of the every 8 years, the dust getting blown away by the radiation pressure. And there's a paper about this, which I have on the script. And the paper has all kinds of really neat additional images and graphs showing in various false colors the dust and the light, the infrared light coming off of the thing. One reason to talk about this is because it shows the amazing things that James Webb Space Telescope can see. I think they could only photograph beforehand maybe one of these concentric rings. Now they've got like 20 of them. And they can measure detailed things about them. They can do spectroscopy on these things they couldn't do before. And lots of other detailed measurements. And so this really demonstrates the amazing, performance of the James Webb Space Telescope. Better than many other things they could do with it. So they got really good spectroscopy of the different features in the object, binary, etc. So they're finding carbonaceous dust Again, they can do all this careful spectroscopy and see exactly what elements and in which other compounds are in the dust. So that is all I've got. So does anybody have any questions about the James Webb Space Telescope imaging WR140, the Wolf-Rayet binary star? This is N5BB, Skynet. Any questions or check-ins?
Charlie 5, Romeo Alpha, India.
SKF5 RAI. Go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, I was just going to check in. But I also had a question on something else. Because I was wondering, like, Tuesday morning there could be something. You all probably already discussed it, but I'm thinking, will that affect radio propagation in any way?
No, the lunar eclipse will not affect radio propagation, other than if you had a amateur telescope that was looking at the moon, a very sensitive one, doing something like moon bounce, there would be less sunlight bouncing off the moon. It might affect the background noise very slightly. I doubt you could hear the difference, though, because the amount of radio signal from the sun bouncing off the moon that we see is very, very small. I think the answer to the question is no. Help?
Yes, and back to the net, TC5REI.
Okay. By the way, can anybody else that's on the net imagine any reason that a lunar eclipse would have any effect at all on image radio propagation? You know, the light reflected off the moon is not ionizing our ionosphere. Does anybody else have any reason to suspect that there would be any effect? If so, come with your call sign now. Okay. Making sure that Chaz couldn't come up with anything. Okay. And are there any other check-ins before I move ahead? This is N5BB, Skynet. Now time for Chaz again. Chaz, what's up? This is N5BB.
Thank you, Bill. Good evening, everyone. This is Chaz, KF5JHA.